Hello everyone and welcome to MythBrigade. My name is Jason and I'm going to be your host for this episode of Rules Bites. Rules Bites is a series of short videos where we unpack the rules for some of our favorite tabletop RPGs. Now, buyer beware, we're going to try to steer clear of the mainstream and focus a lot on off the beaten path titles that you may not even have heard of. This season we're going to take a look at Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition by Cubicle 7. Now, we've chosen Warhammer Fantasy because of its reputation for being really gritty. It's pretty grim. And also, I'm running a campaign using these rules starting on May 23rd. Easy way to learn. So, if you are an experienced player looking to try another game system, or if you're a new player and Warhammer caught your eye, this video series is going to be helpful for you. Before we dive in, I should mention that everything we're going to talk about in this season is covered in a lot more detail in Cubicle 7's 4th edition core rules and the companion starter set. So hop on over to DriveThruRPG or have Amazon's robots deliver a physical copy. Whatever your preference is, you won't be disappointed. Do you want to sneak past a sleeping guard and avoid a really awkward conversation involving swords? Make a test. Do you want to intimidate the bandit that you've taken prisoner to try to talk them into telling you where their lair is? Okay. Make a test. Do you want to deprive the bad guy of his head while simultaneously patching a hole in your favorite leather jerkin? Throughout all of your grim dark adventures, you're going to want your character to do some pretty cool stuff. But for your character to be able to pull off that pretty cool stuff, you're going to have to roll some dice. Now, unlike Dungeons & Dragons that uses the iconic D20 based system, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition uses the D100 or percentile based system. For the absolute beginner out there, the D100 concept is really simple. You start with two 10-sided dice, designating one as the tens digit and one as the ones digit. When you make your roll, you read the result as a percentage. Every test that you make for your character will have a corresponding target number. The target number is based on the attribute or the skill that is most closely related to whatever it is your character is trying to do. Your die roll or result is then compared to that target number to see if you succeed. For example, August the pit fighter finds himself in front of an old iron door. It's clear that it hasn't been used in some time, and the hinges are very rusty. To get the door open, the GM explains that Argus must make a routine test against his strength, which is 35. When the player rolls, if the result is 35 or under, the action is a success. If the roll is 36 or above, the action fails. Every test that you make for your character will have an associated difficulty. By default, this is routine, meaning there is neither a bonus nor a penalty to the roll. Some things are a little bit harder than others though, and the GM may decide to assess a penalty. Penalties in 4th edition are assessed in increments of 10, so 10, 20, 30, all the way up to Y. However severe the penalty, you simply subtract it from your target number, thereby reducing it and making it more difficult for you to roll beneath it. In keeping with our example, perhaps rusty hinges aren't the only thing that's stopping Argus from opening that iron door. Perhaps there's an old wooden bar on the other side holding it fast. Given the age of the wood, the GM decides that a penalty of -10 is fair. This reduces the target number of 35, Argus's strength, to 25. Much more difficult to succeed. The good news is, some things are easier than others. In such cases, the GM may actually award a bonus to the test. Bonuses are awarded in increments of 20. So 20, 40, 60. Are we really counting? Bonuses are used to increase the target number, thereby making it a lot easier to roll beneath it. Now, there's one rule that trumps everything that I've told you so far about managing difficulty, and that is the rule for automatic success or failure. The idea here is that no matter how favorable the circumstance or how grim the situation, there's always that slight chance that you may succeed or fail. So no matter the bonus or the penalty, when you're making a test, If you roll a 96 or above, it's an automatic failure. If you roll a 95 or below, it's an automatic success. I really like this rule because it encourages players to try absolutely crazy things in the heat of the moment. So now that we've got the basic die mechanic out of the way, let's talk about how we apply it with tests. 4th edition supports 2 types of tests: the ordinary test and the dramatic test. Ordinary tests are incredibly simple. You simply roll and determine a success or failure result. Dramatic tests are an excellent tool for situations when you need to determine the level of the outcome. How great was that success? How miserable was that failure? You determine the outcome of a dramatic test by computing what is called the success level, or SL for short. This is done by subtracting the tens digit of your die result from the tens digit of the target number. The number you have left over represents just how successful you were, but keep in mind this can actually work against you. Just as a positive success level tells you to what degree you succeeded, a negative success level tells you just how bad it's going to be when the GM describes your failure. Next up, let's talk about criticals. 4th edition makes this incredibly easy. It's all about rolling doubles. If you roll doubles and you succeed, it's a critical success. If you roll doubles and you fail, it's a critical failure. In all but a few cases, it's up to the GM to determine exactly what critical success and critical failure means. There are some exceptions in combat, and we'll talk about those in episode 2. For now though, let's move on to opposed tests. The idea of the opposed test is best described as a situation where your action is directly opposed by the action or reaction of another. To resolve these tests, each side rolls, calculating their own success level. The success levels are then compared, and the highest one wins. The combat system in 4th edition relies very heavily on the idea of opposed tests. I think this adds a level of grit and realism to the game that you don't find anywhere else. So in addition to all of the tests that we've looked at so far, there are a couple of other types of tests that do come into play from time to time. The first of those is the extended test. Extended tests are actually quite a clever way of addressing tasks that can't be completed in a single round. In these cases, the GM determines a length of time that the test will take and a total success level that has to be achieved during that period of time. Each round, the player tests the appropriate skill or attribute. Success is added to the pool of success level. Failure is subtracted from that success level. If the player achieves the success level inside of the allotted period of time, the overall task is a success. If they fail to do that, last but not least, we have the concept of cooperative tests. This is a situation where a character is taking an action and one or more other characters want to assist. The character with the best chance of success, or the highest target number, actually makes the roll in a cooperative test. A 10% bonus is awarded for each character that's helping. Now, it's worth noting that every character has to have at least one advance in the skill being tested. And yes, every character attempting to assist has to be near enough by to assist. Also, you can't get assistance resisting disease, poison, and that sort of thing. It just doesn't work that way. There are a couple of other scenarios worth checking out on page 155 of the core rulebook that further detail the restrictions around cooperative tests. So that's it for this episode of Rules Bites. Now I know some of the information that we shared here was pretty basic. Keep in mind that this series is intended for beginners and intermediate players alike. So if you like what you're seeing, stick around and we will be diving a lot deeper. In the meantime, help us feed the robots. Click the thumbs up below, click the subscribe button over there, check us out on Twitch TV/MythBrigade. We will be streaming our Tides of Nurgle campaign beginning Thursday, May 23rd at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. I hope to see you all there, and until then, I hope all of your rolls are a critical success.